guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, give me a thumbs up, drop your comments down below. If you're an oldie, have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe. So today I'm going to show you guys how to cut basic sleeve. So here I'm going to make here to be my folding edge. So here I'm going to go in by 1 inch as my starting line. So here will be my starting line. So after dotting, I'm going to connect the lines that I dotted. Once I have connected the lines that I dotted, so now I will have to determine where I want the sleeve to stop. The length of my sleeve to be 9. So I'm going to place, then mark 9 inches. So I'm going to dot 9 inch, dot 9 inch again. So once I have dotted this 9 inch, I'm going to connect the lines like so. I'm not going to reach the same length as this. So from this 9 inch, I'm going to place my tape rule and mark out 3, and I'm also going to mark out 6. I'm going to mark out 6 also. So I'm going to repeat this down here, 3 and then 6. So once I have marked out my 3 and my 6, so on this first 3 I'm going to come down by 4 like so, and also here I'm going to come down by 4. Then I will connect this 4 to this 3. Then on this 6 inches that I marked out, I'm going to mark out my armhole. So my armhole, I'll be using 8 for it. So I came down by 8 inches. So if you like, you mark it out. If you don't like, you leave it that way. The second line is my armhole, which is 8. So I marked out 8. So now you have to determine which of your curve rule do you want to use for this. If you want to use your multi-purpose, you can use your multi-purpose. If you want to use your armhole, then you can use your armhole to shape out. So this is how to place your curve rule when marking your when curving your armhole like so that you will get the perfect curve. If you have your armhole, 2 of your armhole ruler, you can use it as well. If you have your complete set of ruler, you can use any curve ruler except your hip curve and the other one. So right now I'm going to place this all depends on how curvy you want your sleeve to be. So here you can see how I placed my armhole. So I'm going to connect from this point to this line. Then if you like, you can continue using your armhole to curve. So from this my 4 inch, I'm going to connect to my 8 inches like so. So once I am done connecting the lines, the next thing is for me to determine the width of my 9 inches, like where I place my 9 inches, the measurements. So what I have here, because I want it to be a little bit tight, is 11 and a half. 11 and a half divided by 11.5 divided by 2 will give me 5.75. So I'm going to place my tape here. I'm and measure 5.75, which is somewhere here. So I'm going to dot. Once I'm through dotting, I'm going to connect my 8 inches that I have already curved to my 5.75, like so. So this is how to make your basic sleeve. That, like, this is the easiest way. Let me repeat myself. From here, from my starting line to this point, I marked out 3 inches. Then from my starting line, I marked out 6 inches. Then from my starting line, I marked out my full length. This length depends on the length that you want to use. So I use 9 inches for my full length. So from this first 3, from my 3 inches that I marked out, I came down by 4. That 4 is my cap line. Then I marked it out, and I also marked here out. So on the 6 inches that I marked out, I came down by my armhole measurement, which is 8. So depending on what you are using, if you are using 8 for the project you are making, make sure that you marked out 8, so that you know that 8, after covering it out, it will not be 8 anymore, it will be more than 8. So what I have here is 10.5. So once you are through marking out your 3, 6 inches and then your 3 and 6 inches, now it's time for you to curve. Like I said, you can use any of these curve ruler, but me, I prefer using my armhole ruler, because to get the curve you need something that is curvy. So these edges are the same, but here is not the same, so I prefer using my armhole. So I use my armhole curve, then I placed it like so to make sure that my curve rule will meet my starting line and also meet my 4 inches on the 3 inches that I marked out earlier. Then after, I will then shape it out or curve it out. Then after curving it out, see how I'm facing my ruler inside. Then after, I will face my ruler outside the box. Then I will curve it out like so. So that's my armhole measurements on the 6 inches that I marked out. Then after, you measure the width of what you are working with, and then you connect it from the armhole you curved out on the 6 inches to the whatever is your width, sleeve width measurement. So then you add your seam allowances. So here we'll be having seam allowance. So I'm using 1/2 inch seam allowance on this sleeve. So here depends on what you want to use. I'm going to use 1 inch for this. So I'm going to connect this. I'm going to come down, then firstly use my armhole to connect like so. So I'm making sure that they are on equal lines. So here I'm going to connect this like so, then curve this a little bit. So I think I'm through adding my seam allowances. So I'm going to cut this thing out, place it on the fabric, and then join it to what I'm using it for. So I'm going to cut out. So here I didn't add seam allowance because here is going to have if it's going to be the end of your sleeve here, then you have to add 2 inches to it. But if it's not, if there's any attachment, you're going to add half inch. Like mine have attachments, so I'm going to add only half inch for stitching. So after, I'm going to connect these 3 dots together. So now this becomes my new sleeve. So I'm going to place it on the fabric, then cut it out off camera. So guys, this is the sleeve, how the sleeve looks like. So I'm going to remove the second one, and I'll have to notch the center. So I'm going to also notch the center of this. So once I'm through notching, this is how the sleeve looks like. Like so. So guys, this part is the joining part of the sleeve. So this is one of the sleeve here. So you can see they have already notched the center. So what we have to do right now is to flip. There is different method on how you can attach your sleeve. So with me, I love using this method. So I'm going to pin where I notched to my shoulder that I joined the front and back together. So I'm going to use my fabric pin, then I'm going to start pinning all through. I'm not stretching the fabric. Please don't stretch your fabric, especially when you are working with a stretchy material. Don't stretch your fabric. You can see here is kind of open, so I'll try as much as possible to make everything fall into place like so. So I'm going to continue matching it up till I reach the end of this side. The only thing you have to do is just mark out your half inch all through where this end stops. Then after marking it out, you can then stitch the half inch. Then after, I'm going to show you guys the final result. Remember that I said earlier on that this is going to have attachments at this edge, at the down edge. So I'm going to attach to fix the attachment. Then after fixing and sewing the sleeve, I'm going to interlock to make my work to be neat. So after interlocking, I can then iron. After ironing, I will then close my side seam together. So right now I'm going to stitch, then show you guys the next step on what to do. So I'm through stitching the sleeve together. So this is how the sleeve looks like, and I'm through attaching my extension. So right now what I will do now is to flip it like so. So I'm going to definitely, I will trim here off. I will trim this excesses off here. So I'm going to join the two sides like so. Then I will make sure that everything, the sides are equal. Then I will start to stitch. I will start to pin firstly. So that's it. I'll start to pin. Then after pinning, I'll make sure that when rounding up your stitches, make sure that you measure your round arm. So when you measure your round arm, you mark it so that your round arm will be fitted or the way you want it to be. So this is, I want my own to be tight and not that loose. So because what I'm making is a two-piece set, so I want it to be super cool and amazing. After sewing and interlocking, I'm going to show you guys the final product of the sleeve and how the sleeve looks like on this top. So make sure you subscribe, give me a thumbs up, drop your comment down below if you have any question, and invite your friends to like and also share, subscribe most definitely. I love you guys.